Thai people very often will smile for something, sometimes too posed.
Friends like,
Or they
what is
get,
this person
or
taking
they
a
get
picture
really
of?
rigid. Hi everyone, welcome to Bangkok Photo Rambles. I'm John Stiles,
I'm Jeremiah Boulware.
and we're going to be talking today about some of our photos that we've taken on various photo rambles around Bangkok's Chinatown. And while you view this, if you would hit the like button and the subscribe, we'd appreciate it because we're going to do more of these.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, it's great. So we'll start with one of Jeremiah's photos.
Yeah.
And tell us about this one you took on the main road of Chinatown.
Yeah, this is the main road. If you've been to Chinatown, you've seen this spot, right? And this is one of the vendors, one of the many vendors that are preparing their food. And this lady was selling pomegranate and
Those are persimmons back there.
persimmons.
Yeah. For some reason, there were quite a few vendors that had persimmons.
Yeah.
So I noticed she's looking at you. Was that planned? Did you plan for her? Did you tell her you wanted to take it?
No. I usually just like them to catch them sort of
Right.
authentically doing what they're doing.
No, I know you do. That's like
Um,
your trademark. You get the
yeah.
story.
I think with the shallow depth of field, it gave it a very intimate look.
Mm-hmm.
There's a very busy scene, a lot going on, and she was sort of zenfully doing her thing.
Yeah, and this pulls you right in and makes it more intimate with her.
Yeah.
Connect at eye contact.
And I think that was the one shot where she looked up. I took the shot. I looked at it. Her eyes were in focus, and I think I moved on.
Yeah.
Normally, like when they're doing something, I'll get a couple different angles, and take multiple shots. But I just knew that I had the shot because she looked up, and I was like,
Take
that. I looked at it. It felt good.
Yeah.
And she's got a little smile.
A little
so she's
smile. So she was kind of pleased.
Yeah.
She wasn't at all.
Landed the smile. It's land of
Yeah.
smiles, and that's
She was
That's
not,
why.
not at all negative about
No.
having her picture taken. And I find that and we both find that with Thais. Thai people very often will smile for something, sometimes too posed,
yeah.
Or if we aren't taking a picture, they'll say, take my picture.
Yeah.
So they're very...
And you get the peace sign or this.
But really, even if it's a candid like this, they're very accommodating
Yeah.
and very, very friendly about it.
Yeah.
So I was with you on this ramble, but I was back behind this group of people. I saw that you were taking this picture, but I didn't have the photo, so I was taking pictures of something else.
Yeah, I think you were ahead of me because I stopped right
Yeah.
before this. There was a tuk-tuk driver
That's
who was
right.
buying lottery. I probably got like 20 or 30 shots of that scene.
Yeah.
And then
And then
came
this
to
would work. And there's a lot of traffic in here, and you can see the signs. A very iconic Bangkok Chinatown. So
yeah, it
so
was
you can
busy.
tell where it is, but
Yeah.
and you picture her out of that crowd. So that worked really well.
Yeah, and she's on the street. I mean,
Yeah.
some of these vendors are, they're not on the sidewalk. They kind of stick out from the curb a little bit.
So normally you don't take photos of people looking at you.
Well, I remember when we first started this Bangkok Photo Rambles about 6 years ago.
Mhm.
We were in the Midbury Market,
Right.
and there was a Muslim vendor, and he had the big piles of spices,
Oh yeah.
and it
right.
was sort of my first time seeing that, and it was just beautiful. And I remember he looked and he just smiled, and I remember asking you about that later, saying and we kind of had a little bit of a disagreement on that. Like I said, I don't like it when people look. I just want to get the authentic scene.
And I grew into that also. I used to not like to have them looking at me
Yeah.
because sometimes it would come across as somewhat posed.
A lot of times it turned into that.
Yeah.
They give you the
Oh,
peace
yeah.
sign, and then they stop what they're doing,
That's
or
right.
they smile. They start to laugh. They look at their friends like,
Or they
"What is
get-
this person
Or
taking
they
a
get
picture
really
of?"
rigid. This one was like a split second shot. She didn't have time to even, if she wanted to,
Yeah.
pose. She
That's
just
why I
looked
only
up.
took the one
Yes,
shot because
that's right.
as soon as she looked up, gave me that just a beautiful smile.
Yeah, and that's what I like about the ones I do, and a couple of mine we'll talk about here in a minute. But I think this works really well because she made that connection with you.
Yeah.
I think if she was looking down at her fruit and you took this picture, I don't think it would work as well.
Yeah, yeah. I think what makes this image work is that, and the shallow depth of field, and being able to kind of see the busyness. You got these people, you know, they look like Chinese tourists.
There were a
back
lot of
there.
Chinese tourists there. Yeah.
And then you got the traffic. It's a busy scene, and then the shallow depth of field, and then the smile. The intimacy is juxtaposed with the busy scene.
It says a lot about, in one photo, it says a lot about Bangkok, Chinatown, I think. Okay, well, let's take a look at another one, also in Chinatown that I took, also has to do with connecting with the eyes. This was at it wasn't a temple, but it was a foundation that had a lot of the different
That's beautiful.
different scenes inside. This one was with the huge bells that people would go around and hit for luck. There were other stations too where people were huge bowls with incense in them. There was a smoky cloud, you know, in there.
Oh,
And yeah, and I'd been taking pictures. I think you were using video at the time.
This,
Of this.
I think this is from the Year of the Dog Ramble.
Year
This
of the
is
Dog,
a couple of years ago.
You know, I knew they would be going around in a circle, and I was a little ways away from this. You can see this is one near me, so they were going to come around in front here. So I just waited. I was just going to wait for one person
Yeah.
to make eye contact, and she did. And that's the only picture I took of this.
You got the look. The look was
Yeah.
right.
And I got a few others without people looking, but after looking at this, I thought, wow, all three of them almost looked at me at the same time. But she is the one that made the eye contact, didn't stop, didn't do anything. She kept on going, and it was very brief. I just had my camera up. I had waited for several seconds just to see if anybody. And as soon as she looked, and it was kind of like the one,
picture.
and it worked out really well. Her Chinese blouse, the red and gold, which is very Chinese New Year
Traditional.
look. Yeah, very traditional.
garb.
And I like the bells because that
The
really
big
fills
bells.
frame.
Yeah, I can hear them.
So this worked really well. It was just a look, just a glance, an inquisitive look. She wasn't smiling. She wasn't making that kind of contact. She knew I was there. She couldn't help but look.
Yeah.
And I was probably annoying. I was just standing there with my camera at that point, and so she just looked.
It could be the annoyed look, but it's
No, but she wasn't. She wasn't annoyed.
Yeah.
She just kept right on going. So, but I like this picture because of the bells, the composition of it, also the other two people in it.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, and that was natural light.
Yeah.
They did have interior lights, but there was a lot of.
It was
lights
just
from
open,
outside.
right? I mean, there was
It was open, yeah.
it was a walled,
Huge room.
walled in,
Yeah,
and it
huge
was just
room.
open, right, on the top.
Yeah, with a roof. Yeah. So this worked. I have since liked taking photographs of people who are looking at me, as long as they're not posing. Now, once in a while, I'll be in a street situation, and I will ask someone to take their photo because of the surroundings, and it becomes a portrait.
Yeah.
So I don't mind street portraits. This is not one. This is just a scene where she.
It's like an environmental portrait.
It is.
So it's
It
like
is, yeah.
just
Yeah.
picture.
And if I was going to take
It's
an
a really
action,
good environmental portrait.
sometimes I take formal portraits of people in a setting that shows where they are, but they're actually posing for me,
Yeah.
and it's usually a very dignified or handsome or beautiful look that they give, kind of a proud look of where they are.
Yeah.
I like doing those, but this was just action. I didn't want to say, can I take your picture?
Yeah.
They weren't going to stop.
So how close were you? I mean, were you zoomed in, or
I was zoomed in somewhat. I was fairly
you were
close.
close enough for her to recognize you?
Oh, she knew. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't right there, but I was
Yeah.
back a little ways, and I had on a zoom focal length. I can't remember what it was, but it wasn't really far away. I wasn't far away.
I like the timelessness of this image. I mean, if this was a black and white image, we're in the traditional dress there. I mean, this could be like 100 years ago.
In fact, I'm sure there were people doing the same thing with these bells 100 years ago.
Yeah.
And you can find these places in Chinatown and all around Bangkok.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm happy with that. That's another person looking at the camera.
Yeah, that's a beautiful picture. Yeah.
But it just did the same thing as yours. It enhanced the scene. So I don't always do that. I mean, if she hadn't looked, I would just get a picture of people going around with the bells and it would tell a story.
Yeah.
But this one, again, like yours, gives a more intimate connection with the viewer. And I think even though people seeing this didn't take the picture, I think they can connect with both women.
And you said you took more. You just took the one shot. Like you got the shot and you moved on.
Well, not exactly. I started taking pictures of the whole scene,
Yeah.
and then I moved in to get a closer look, and just waited for people to come around and see if they would look. And I think I did take pictures of the whole thing, and then I decided to wait. And I think she was only like the fourth person through that, and then she looked at me. The others didn't.
Yeah.
Whether they knew I was trying to take a picture or not, but so it was, and it, like yours, it was very quick.
Yeah.
She didn't stop. She just kept on going, but it was just a glance. So I like that one.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Okay, so that's a couple of examples of how we wander through different places in Bangkok.
And we ramble.
And
we ramble.
We've rambled as far away as Maine, USA. So
That's right.
so we may even do that. So we're glad you joined us, and hopefully you'll join us on the next one when we come back for another chat about our photos.
Yeah.
So take photos. Don't worry about it if they're looking at you. Sometimes it works.
Sometimes it works.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Thanks, John.
All right. Thank you, Jeremiah.
Yeah.
And we'll see you all next time.
See ya.